Habbakuk was in a season of drought. He said, even though there's no grapes on the vines, even though the olive crops fail, and the fields lie empty, even though the flocks die in their fields and the cattle barns are empty, same goes for you. You have to ask God to give you an attitude like Habbakuk. Understand that nothing was flourishing around him. He was surrounded by negativity. He was surrounded by injustice. And he was in a season, like I said, of drought. He still chose to fix his mouth and say, but yet I will rejoice in God. See, sometimes in your lack, you cannot focus on what you don't have, because it's praise that will move God. You see, God inhabits the praises of his people. God is not moved off your complaint. He's moved by your faith. And without faith, it is impossible to please God. Despite what you're seeing, despite all odds, you got to trust God. Trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Habbakuk decided he was going to trust God. He wasn't going to let his circumstance stop him from praising God. He wasn't going to let whatever he was facing stop him from giving God praise. He wasn't going to let none of that. And we must be the same way. Remember this, that the same God who helped you before is the same God who's going to help you again. The same God that healed you before is the same God that's going to heal you again. The same God that brought you out before is the same God who's going to bring you out again. The same God who lifted you up before is the same God that's going to lift you up again. To remember that we walk by faith and not by sight. So what is faith? It says faith shows the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see. So you're waiting to see something, but God's waiting on you to have faith. You're waiting to see something. You're waiting for physical evidence. Do you understand that Habbakuk said, Lord, even though the fig trees are barren, even though God, there's nothing flourishing in the land, he knew that God was going to come through. So he said, yet will I trust you. You have to have the same kind of attitude. You cannot let your circumstance dictate if God's going to move for you. But begin to declare and begin to speak over your situation. No matter what you're facing, begin to declare that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. No matter what you're going through, fix your eyes on the Lord. This is not about what you can see. Sometimes God will test you. He'll test your faith to see if you really believe he's going to do what he said. Sometimes he will really test your faith. He'll make everything go downhill. He'll make it seem like you're going backwards. Just to see if you really believe in him. Just to see if you really stand on what you say. Walk around with this mentality. But yet I will rejoice. Yet I will trust you. Though he slay me, yet I will trust in him. So I pray you were blessed by this message today that came from Habbakuk chapter 3. You can go read it on your spare time and just meditate on that. And just remember that the Lord is for you. And that if God be for you, who could be against you?